Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Path of Exile, Lake Kalandra, Beginner's Guide, full walkthrough as a League starter. So, let's go ahead and log in. We're going to go and make a brand new character. I actually have too many characters, so I'll have to delete an older one that I was actually using just as a placeholder. So, we're going to get started with the brand new League. This build guide is going to be basically for a beginner player. This build will actually open up the doors to multiple different builds that you can play in terms of playstyles. You could be a caster, you can be a summoner, you can be a summoner caster, or if you're interested in melee, you can actually do that as well. It's going to heavily emphasize on using the brand new skill gems that just came out for this league. So starting right off, if you're a beginner player, you're going to have to create a brand new character, so we'll go ahead and hit create over here. And we want to make sure we select Kalandra here and then click OK. Do not click solo self-bound. This will disable the ability to play with other players and trade, which is a huge part of the progression system in this game. If you're a beginner player, select Kalandra, hit OK. We're going to go ahead and select the witch, which is on the far right. Technically, this is a beginner's guide to PoE, so you can play other classes. However, different classes will start in different areas of the skill tree, which does matter. So if you're a beginner player, just select the same class and just follow this pretty much every single step of the way. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to name my character Sledger Lake because it's Lake of Kalandra, and it helps me know what character this is in terms of like what league it's for. So we're going to go ahead and create our character, and starting right off, what you want to do in the very beginning is go to the options. Change your controls if you want to, and in terms of like gameplay, if you guys want to like POB, I'll link a video that kind of explains what we want to do more, because I just want to go in and get started, because a lot of Path of Exile's guides, they'll tell you download this third-party application, download this. It tells you to download a lot of different things. And I know for some people, they just want to get right into the game and play. So these are my settings, just in case any of you guys do want to go ahead and copy them. Yeah, these are the settings that I'm running. The one thing that will be actually important is potentially getting a loot filter later down the line if you wish to do so. But one thing that I really like is this map transparency, and as well as this landscape transparency. So I put map transparency all the way to the right, and the landscape transparency, it just kind of shows where some foliage would be. I like to disable that because it makes it so it's a lot easier to see. The other thing that I really recommend is to have the map zoomed all the way out. It makes it much easier, and it's less visual clutter because you have more to actually see. These are the settings that I'm using. Feel free to copy them and pause it if you want to, but I just want to go ahead and mention that really quick because I feel like that's an important thing. And change your keybinds if you wish to go ahead and do so. So in the very beginning, I like to have Q for my movement. Again, you can change all of your settings if you would like to. We're going to go and click on this wand, and it'll automatically equip it for us. We're going to kill this corpse over here that's hungry, and it's going to drop a gem. We're going to grab the gem, left click it, and put it inside the hole right here. The blue gem goes in the blue hole, and then now we'll have a fireball skill. And on the left we have our life, and the right we have our mana. When we lose all of our life, we're dead. When we lose mana, we cannot cast our skill. So if I right click now, it's going to use fireball. You can re-keybind this to whatever you want to if you want to go ahead and do that. We're going to skip all the tutorials. I'll teach you things that you'll need as we progress. So one thing that's important with PoE, I'm going to click this so it's move only. A lot of people do like left click for move only. This is like a very common thing, so feel free to do that as well if you want to. But the key with Path of Exile in terms of like completing content almost as quickly as possible is really to just attack and then move, and you'll get through the game much faster. You'll see a large chest. Depending on the class that you play, this could be different, but for the most part, just play Witch, like I mentioned before, because this is what the beginner's guide is going to show off. But it's going to heavily emphasize on trying out at least all the new lightning skills. We'll try out the new like fire poison one as well, but our build is going to be basically based off of lightning. So we get this Arcane Surge. We're going to make sure it's linked. You see how that there's, no matter what, you'll get the same item. Like, you'll always get Arcane Surge. There's a little, like, line in between. That little line indicates that it is linked. So now we have Fireball linked with Arcane Surge. So how this game works in terms of Path of Exile, because it's a very complex game, and I don't like to overwhelm people too much at the very beginning and showing off the skill tree and those kinds of things. What you want to make sure is that you actually read your skills. You'll see that the Arcane Surge, if I mouse over it, it'll say supportable skills. Fireball, it's a green check mark over that. That means it works with it. Now, what does Arcane Surge actually do? Well, it's going to give us extra mana regen and extra damage when we spend a certain amount of mana. And also, this little like hotbar over on the bottom left where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. those are what's called flasks. Think of them as potions. However, they're not just potions to heal our life and mana. The blue one heals mana, the red one heals life. There's a lot more uniqueness. Maybe you guys followed me for, let's say, Diablo or another action RPG, maybe Torchlight. This game is a lot different. It's a lot more difficult. It's got a lot more complexity, but I think that's actually a great thing. So pick up all the items that you can pretty much when you're just progressing here. We just killed Hillock. Basically, just throw fireballs and just move around. He's kind of slow, so he's relatively easy. Just don't get too close because he can hit you pretty hard, because we are right now kind of more of a caster and we don't have very much armor. So you'll see we have these scrolls of wisdom. These are used for currency in the game. We can also swap this. Since we're running a wand, we can actually swap this and we can get some extra spell damage here. So talk to Nessa. We'll go ahead and click sell items. So anything that we're not going to be using, like, I don't really need any of these, so I'm just going to sell them. This will give us transmute shards as well as scroll fragments, depending on what the item is. And then we can go also purchase some items over here to get newer skills. Now, since we just killed a boss over there, it's like the first boss that you fight, you get a reward. Now you can select Freezing Pulse or you can select Zombies if you want to. Our build is heavily emphasized on Lightning. Freezing Pulse is just so fantastic in general. We're going to go ahead and select Freezing Pulse just for leveling. We don't need Fireball at this point, but if you like Fireball, feel free to go ahead and use it. So this is our first town. We have Stash, and we just got a passive skill point. So in terms of that passive tree, I know it's very large. It can feel overwhelming. Don't worry. So we're going to start off, depending on what class you pick, you'll start off in different locations. What we're going to do is just select the spell damage and mana. So we're just going to click that and then hit apply. And then we will now have increased spell damage. If you want to check any of your damage, you can hit, I believe default is C as in cat. And you can see that there's a tab that's called offense. And you can click on our skill over here and it'll show us how much damage we do. So now we're doing 21 to 42 damage with our Freezing Pulse. So this is a brand new skill that we will have some fun with. And the way this skill kind of works is it just kind of goes through everything. And we're actually getting to the first time we're going to interact with the brand new Lake of Kalandra mechanic. So in terms of what my plan is, this is going to be a heavily emphasized lightning build. It can use minions as well. So we're going to go ahead and click on this mirror tablet. But if you guys do want to play more of a summoner build, I have that one from last league and it's still very, very powerful. So we get to choose some choices over here. So this is a brand new mechanic. I haven't done this myself. It just came out recently. So let's see, defeat a pack of skeletons. This one should be pretty easy. So we're going to go ahead and select that one. And I guess, do we place it? Oh, okay, we place it somewhere on here, and we're going to have to, like, defeat them. So how this works, I'll probably make a dedicated video on it, but the further away that you are from, like, the entrance, the better the rewards are. It's going to start off easy, then it's going to get more difficult. So we're going to have to interact with it multiple times before we actually get the mechanic to be able to do like the area, if that makes sense. Now you'll also see on the right side it says level up, so we can level up our gems in this game. So not only does your character level up, but your gems level up. And pretty much you always want to level up your gems. There's no reason not to, with the exception of certain things which we'll mention later. But for the most part, when you level up a gem, it's going to give you more damage, maybe better uptime, cooldown reduction. However, as you upgrade it, it will cost more mana, and there are certain times where you may not want the upgraded version of it because the mana cost is just not simply worth it, or you want to, for some sort of reason, to be a lower level. But yeah, this is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm super excited to go ahead and give you guys like a full walkthrough, playthrough for the game. But Freezing Pulse, what's great with it, and the reason why I choose it, even though we plan to go Lightning, is because right now it's just so much better than any of the other like beginner skills that you have access to. Coming up against a monster over here, a unique one. So some monsters can hit very hard. This one does Firestorm, so just, you know, don't stand in the giant fire. And another thing I should mention is the flasks. How do these actually work? So when you kill monsters in this game, you will gain flask charges. And those flask charges will refill your flasks. But there's other ways to refill them that are like done through uniques and stuff. Right now I just want to pick up the wands just in case we can see any wand that specifically has 3 blue linked ones. And we can, if we want to, we could identify these. So we can right click on the scroll of wisdom and then left click, and that's going to identify the item. If you played Diablo like 2, that's like identifying the item. So this one is linked and it has some mana regeneration rate. It's going to be better than this one. So we're going to move our gems and then swap the item, and I don't really need that other one. And this one does more spell damage. So that's great. Cool. More spell damage. So now on our damage, we're doing 31 damage. Click on the waypoint here. This is a way where we can travel from one point to another. So you'll see that there's mud flats, and there's also going to be the other area over in this direction. Keep in mind that this game, because it's an action RPG, it does have some randomness to it in terms of like the way that the map is oriented for certain things. Now, as for our next skill point, we're just going to get more spell damage. We're eventually going to respec archery. We can go this path because it saves some skill points, but for now, we're just going to get some damage, some cast speed, so the game feels much better. And then we'll spec into lightning, and man, it's going to be so good. So if you're wondering kind of what my plans are, maybe you followed me last league and you enjoyed maybe the summoner build. So we can still level up with absolution because that skill is just fantastic to level up with. And it's kind of like a cool hybrid build of having an army of minions as well as getting the ability to have like some self-cast damage. So we're going to fight Hellrake. This guy actually is a little bit powerful. So just kind of stand far away from him. Just shoot once, move, and you'll be a-okay. And if you can line it up with the freezing pulse, this is why I love this skill so much, because it goes through multiple targets. And we can just focus in on hitting him. Don't get too close, because he'll be able to hit you a little bit like earlier. If that makes sense, you get less time to dodge. But just shoot once, move. And I also have like different sounds for certain items that drop. It's so when I commentate, I can hear them. Number one, and two, it makes it much easier. So now that we've gotten this, we can walk back, but the faster thing to do is go to character selection screen, and then we're actually going to go ahead and select our character once again. We'll select this Kalandra, and then this way we can just go right back into town without having to waste a town portal or having to walk back. It's just a faster way to do it. So now we have some boots. I'm going to go identify these boots. Hopefully we get move speed. Unfortunately, didn't get move speed. That's okay. It happens. We also got a chest piece. It gives us some energy shield. So energy shield is our first time getting it. It goes over our HP, and that will regenerate over a time when we don't take damage, or there's certain things that do modify it. The rest of the stuff I don't need. We're going to take this medicine chest, and we can talk to the people in town. And we're going to get this Quicksilver Flask that we're going to be able to use. And then we're going to get another support gem. So what I like to get is Summon Phantasm support. I don't happen to have Zombie yet. So if I want to, I can purchase Zombie. Let me go and actually sell these items that we don't need. Don't worry, later down the line, you won't have to like keep on like selling your stuff in town. Like, it's just in the very beginning, it helps out a lot. So in terms of another gem that we can get Zombie now, because more than likely at this point we have another Scroll of Wisdom to use, so we can get Zombies so we can kind of summon some stuff, and it'll be a little bit more fun. We want to ideally link Zombies with this Summon Phantasm support. So yeah, we can talk to the NPCs. If you want to listen to them, feel free to go ahead and do so. In fact, if you want to put like this walkthrough and playthrough on another monitor, feel free to go and do so. So remember that waypoint that we got? We can actually click over here where it says waypoint, and we're going to go to the coast. That's the waypoint that we got earlier. Again, it's the same mechanic as like Diablo 2 waypoints are. In fact, any action RPG will have waypoints. So now we are in the mud flats. So what we're going to do here is we got to watch out for these like chicken-looking things that will charge right at us. They actually hit pretty hard. So yeah, these guys, they will just charge at you. You can see they hit super, super hard. So hit them once and move. The reason why I also really like Freezing Pulse for leveling is it slows things down because it chills them, which is great. And if you pick up any item and you don't have a thing in the slot, it'll automatically just put an item in the slot. So like those Greaves, which give us armor, which will give us some sort of damage reduction against physical damage. And if these gave us more armor, or it depends on what you want. So how it works is evasion basically makes it so you evade the attack, you don't take any damage with it. Armor will give you some sort of damage reduction, and then energy shield goes over our HP. You can see it regenerates over time. We'll go and level up those gems, and you can still level up this gem. I just don't happen to have a blue one. So what you want to do is you want to click on these little nests, and you're going to get these seashells. There's 3 seashells to collect. We also have a skill point. We're going to put it into cast speed. I like cast speed a lot because it basically makes the game feel a lot better. But if you want to go for spell damage in the very beginning, that's totally a-okay as well. What we're looking for is any other item that has a 2 link. But this is a scepter, and I cannot, since I already have a wand in one hand, I need to, if I want to dual wield, they have to be the same weapon type. There are certain other like exceptions in the game. But for the most part, if you happen to get 2 scepters that get extra spell damage or elemental damage, that's fine. Here's a little nest. We'll click on it again. Get this amulet. So this amulet that we just picked up will give us extra mana regeneration. So that'll be nice to have because our current one just gives us life regen, which is still good. Now that we hit level 4, we can put in this Quicksilver Flask, and this flask is going to give us movement speed. I don't need this over here. We need to be level 5 for that. And we are good to go after we put this in. So this gives us extra mana regeneration. So what's cool with this game, it doesn't have like a gold. All the items that are worth currency in the game are going to actually be items. Ooh, that's really awesome. We got a 3 linked blue. Fantastic. So we'll definitely be using that later once we get something else that I want to use. But keep in mind, you might not get certain items at the same time. You might get them faster. It's not really that big of a deal, though. Now we also, oh, we got our raise zombie. So I put it on middle mouse click, so I can middle mouse click, and now it's going to summon some zombies. And now we can get some extra friends to do some fighting for us. And it's really great against bosses. The reason why it's really great against bosses is even if you don't scale minions, there's a lot of strategies will involve using something called summon skeletons, which we will also dig into later. But what it does is it makes it so, well, we got 3 of the seashells. This is what they look like. So once we get all of them, you just click on where it shows like the exclamation mark and the item will drop. So we just got all of them and we can continue. So you're going to put these into this wall. Keep in mind the map sometimes made to be different in certain areas, but you put 3 of them in and you go to the submerged passage. And we are going to get this waypoint over here as well. But the reason why minions are really good, some bosses, they have mechanics that can potentially one-shot, and you don't want to run into that. Okay, so we might be able to do the first league mechanic now. Let's see. And we can defeat cannibals, crabs. We'll do skeletons again, because the reason why the skeletons are a little bit easier. So I recommend doing that. We have another skill point. We'll get extra cast speed. And on top of that, we just got an orb of, let's see, where is it? We got an orb of alteration. So what we can do with this is it reforges the magic item to re-roll the stats. We'll eventually get, maybe we could actually upgrade this later. So can we go in with this? Open a portal. Ooh. Okay, so this is the first time we're doing this. I don't know how it's gonna. A lot of times the league mechanics can be very difficult early on. We'll see how it goes, man. So this is the brand new league mechanic. I'm excited to see the challenges that await us in here. Do I have to hit something to start? It's just like opening up the map. Okay, this is cool. So this, I can't really give you info on. It just came out, but how it works is I'm guessing we just kill a bunch of stuff. And then we get a reward at the end. That's usually how it works. Oh, we got a boss already. And so that other flask, the green one, oh, how this one works is it's going to give us extra movement speed when we activate it. So there's a lot of really cool, unique flasks in the game. They do different things. Okay, let's go ahead and eliminate this guy. And he's going to do like a rain of arrows. Okay, we got him down. Got an extra mana flask. Is this one better? Is it 50? Okay. Fine. Let's go ahead and eliminate more of these. And when you are bleeding, try not to move, especially earlier on, because if you don't have any damage reduction, you're going to be taking a lot of damage from bleeds if you move.
Life is short. Deal with it.
Go summon more zombies over here. There's put zombies right clicks. So no, this mouse that I have is kind of loud for the middle mouse button. Okay, so we're getting to the next. Oh, so we have our chest. So is that it? There's just two stronger monsters. Let's go ahead and open up this chest, see what we get. A tower shield. We got some extra life on it. I kind of like the extra damage, to be honest. But yeah, we don't even have a scroll of wisdom to identify it. Alright, so let's keep on going. And at the very end, we should get a choice between 2 different items. And how the items roll in this, because I know how the mechanic kind of works, is that the item will actually... You'll get 2 kind of the same item, but the stats will vary in negative directions. Which will be very interesting. If you see any item that has the blue, green, and red linked, pick those up. We're going to be getting chromatic orbs, which can actually change the colors of the socket. If you remember in the very beginning, I mentioned the blue gems go in the blue holes in the item. Later down the line, we may want to change it to match a certain color. And that really helps out with that. Ooh, this guy's kind of tough. A lot of times earlier on in the League and Path of Exile, the League mechanics is considered too hard. So if you die at any point in this game in general, do not worry. Path of Exile is not an easy game. I've taught lots of my friends this game, and it's not easy. Unfortunately, he resists cold. And that's the damage we deal. I mean, if I wanted to, maybe we could use Fireball, but... We'll get him down. Some more zombies, just so we can have extra kind of fodder here. This guy down. Okay, we'll get these and this. Oh, these are going to be great because now we can put the zombie here with the Summon of Phantasm. That'll give us some extra damage. Alright, do we get anything good? We got a staff. I'm probably not going to be using it, to be honest. This one, maybe we can use. Because it gives us extra spell damage. What is this? Oh, we don't need that. Another mana flask. If you want to, like, we have 3 mana flasks now. And we're going to actually upgrade it to a stronger flask by selling it to the vendor. There's a lot of things that aren't even explained in Path of Exile, like the vendor recipes, but they're kind of designed to let the player experience trial and error, and that's one thing I really like respect that this game does. Like, I grew up in a time where like games didn't have like, hey, go here, shoot this monster, where like things were discovered on their own, and like I definitely kind of like that idea because it allows the game to have a little bit more mystery. Now this one only has 1 socket, but that's okay. We may actually use it. So what is this? It has some lore. We'll just let it play in the back. Ooh, 2 rings. Ooh.
It was a barren, hot,
that's awesome.
lifeless realm.
So is this?
With magma.
Do we finish it? We actually should be getting Frostblinked
Was there a lake?
when we go back to the
Curiosity was my undoing.
town. Oh, okay, so that was like the text. All right, next we're gonna get cast speed. We're gonna get more damage and cast speed. The reason why I like to get cast speed early on so much is because it really lets the game have such a better like feel to like where your attacks. Or if I'm playing something with attack speed, I like to get it earlier on. It makes it so much better. I think, did we clear up the map? Is this kind of like this it? It doesn't like let us port back? Oh, you just, okay, so that's where we're at right now. Did we kill all of them? Or how does this work? I think we've completed, like, because there's kind of like 2 zones in here. And I think that that's kind of how it works. And depending on the difficulty, we get 2 of the, we just exit lake over here. Okay, I wish it made a little portal at the very end. So now that we've got these rings and I do want to identify them, we can actually go back to town. We can actually get a movement ability as well if we go back to town. So go ahead and do that. We're going to talk to the Tarkly over here. And we can get some other things. So we can get Orb of Storms. We can get Frostbomb. Frostbomb are actually really great to have because it really does a decent amount of damage. I like Frostbomb, even though we technically are still doing damage via
Stay sharp out there.
lightning. We do eventually get lightning skills, but in the very beginning, sometimes it's just better to get other things. So this is something I want to keep. We can move. Let's see. I have a transmute. This will upgrade a normal to a magic item, and this thing, it has less spell damage. I like the mana regenerate on this as well, but this could be better. I don't have any scrolls of wisdom, but I could show you guys this. So I put 3 small flasks of mana. I will get it converted to a medium mana flask. So now I have something a little bit better. That's what's called a vendor recipe. I'm gonna sell like all the other like random items. I as much as I like this, would, if I could equip it, I totally would. In the very beginning, armor scraps, I mean, you could just sell them to get wisdoms. It's definitely worth it because later we'll use them and I'll talk about them. But for right now, the scroll of wisdoms on these are going to be so excellent. Getting cold resist is great. Extra dex, that's great. Extra regenerate life, some mana. Okay. The added fire damage to attacks we can't really benefit off of because we're not actually attacking. I want to identify this and I want to get this 3-linked blue. So right now with Frostblink, that's our mobility ability. I kind of want to have a mobility. We can drop Freezing Pulse for now and just allow Frost Bombs just for our attack. And we'll kind of mix and match things later. Remember I said pick up the red, green, and blue linked items? So I'm going to go and actually sell it, and we're going to get Chromatic Orb that can change the colors of an item. And what else do we need to identify? Oh, we can actually use these now. Cool. So just upgrades here and there. Oops, we can keep this. So a lot of items that are basically what's considered like worthless. In the very beginning, they'll give you scroll fragments. If you get 5, you get a scroll of wisdom. This can identify pieces of gear. I mean, this could be a little bit better. Let's see what this rolls. So we get some extra resistances, some extra life. That could be okay. I can put Frostblink over here now. And if I want to run this, I mean, we lose out on some damage, but getting extra cold resistance is pretty important. I mean, I could probably deal with the damage, like reduction that we get, because Frostbomb just, it clears things very fast. Now I have Frostblink in my bar. And if I hit W, it'll teleport me. Later we'll get something called Flame Dash. So the thing with Frost Bombs is it takes a second for it to activate, but then it'll do a massive amount of damage. If you don't like how the skill works, feel free to just keep using Freezing Pulse. It's up to you. A lot of people do like running that skill, the Frost Bomb. The reason why people like the Frost Bomb. Click on any chests, by the way, that open up. they are fantastic to open up because you can get like transmutations, alterations, and this is going to be great for rolling some items later. But the reason why people like Frostbomb is because it does an insane amount of damage. Personally for me, I actually really do like using Freezing Pulse. The reason why is because with Frostbomb, it takes a while for the enemies to actually die. The reason why I got it is because like it's kind of like more of a meta thing for most people to get. Ooh, we got another 3 linked. This is great. So now we have 2 3 links, and we can use both of them. We're just going to need to get added lightning damage, and that will be okay. So you see when the zombies kill stuff, we're going to get these extra minions, which will be great. Oh, these are some gloves. Can maybe use... that's fine, we don't really need these. Not yet. And basically through here, we're just going to try to progress, usually in the bottom left. It's, I mean, some of these things that I'm mentioning are just in general most of the time. Certain things are in certain areas. But it's kind of like RNG because it's an action RPG. These tiles on these maps are usually somewhat randomly generated. But this build guide will get you up and running to be able to do the endgame content, and I'm so excited because this league, there's so many cool things that I want to show you guys. So I think in terms of like the negative resistance, like and negative modifiers, those will roll maybe towards like later in the game. I guess they don't roll earlier on. Remember to always level up your gems. You got a nice little threshold in here. Got a nice bigger node. Need some extra spell damage. Some cast speed. Oh, pick up all the wisdoms in the very beginning. If these items aren't popping up, hit Z as in zebra. I think it's default, and that will make the item show up. Or it could be it's either X or Z for default. But yeah, we'll level up our skills. And even if you don't use the skill, you'll still level up the skill as long as it's in there. Yeah, in terms of like, it's in somewhere in your gear. It could even be on your offhand. Like, because you can swap weapons in this game. And don't feel you have to kill every single enemy. But watch out when you get hit with too much cold damage. Because you'll start to slow down. You'll definitely feel it. Okay, get this Brood Princess Town. But if you die at any point in this game, do not worry. This game is super, super difficult. Most people, for the first time in this game, they feel completely lost. But I'll walk you through. We'll get everything done. And we're going to go get an extra skill point quest. And I'll do all the important quests. If you want to, and it's your first time, feel free to complete all the quests later down the line if you want to for like the lore or whatever the case may be. But I'm really here just to show you guys like just getting content done as quickly as possible. So we have a an area right here where it's going up to the ledge. But we actually don't want to go here. We actually want to go to a different area. We technically can open up a portal and go back. It is an option to do it, and then you go back to get the skill point quest, but we're just going to go ahead and do it now. Make sure you keep on activating your frost blink, though, just to move faster. But it looks like it might be up, could be up over here. It could be in the small path over there as well. Sometimes it's that small little sliver that you don't go to for the area, and that's where you actually need to go, but that's just how action RPGs are. Oh, by the way, I should have mentioned, to open up your mini-map, even though it's in the top right at all times, you can hit tab and it will actually open it up. So we're going to go to the Flooded Depths. And just keep on killing some stuff. But yeah, this build will be so good for any beginner because we're going to get insane amounts of damage with very little investment. And that is because of the new lightning shock values and just... I'm not sure what reason they decided to go all in with lightning in this patch. Maybe they're buffing lightning and then they'll do fire in another patch, but yeah, the lightning tree is looking really good right now, and it's so great for leveling too. As soon as we get arc, it's going to be excellent. But for now, yeah, this is what we're using. So now we're going to go ahead and we can path up here, or we can go get this, so we can actually spec into lightning very, very soon. Okay, so there's this mirrored tablet. We can see what we want to spawn in. I'm going to go with crabs. So I think how it works is the further you are from the entrance, the more rewards that you get. But in terms of like the league mechanic, it's like okay in terms of difficulty right now. It's like at least doable. Some of the leagues, like they'll have mechanics in the very beginning, and it's just like way too hard. So what we're doing in the Flooded Depths over here is we're actually looking for a boss, and once we defeat this crab-looking boss, we will be able to get a nice reward, and the reward is going to be skill points. Well, it's one skill point. So we're coming up to our first essence, and this is going to be excellent. What the essences do is they convert an item to have very specific rules depending on what the essence is. And I'll show you how that mechanic works in just a moment once we defeat this Dweller of the Deep. So just keep on spamming your Frost Bomb, Fireball, whatever skill that you like. Keep in mind, eventually you will have to play any skill that really uses lightning. It doesn't really matter which one you choose, because this build will actually let you do a lot of different things, which is awesome. Some build guides are like, you have to level up with this and you have no choice. But yeah, so this is Frostweaver, so we're going to go ahead and spawn it. So just double click on it, and it'll spawn in, and it's going to spawn kind of like an elite. It's going to have certain things maybe come out from it, or AoE that goes on the ground. So we're just going to defeat this. Trying to get hit by it. Okay. Because some of these can do lots of damage, especially earlier on. So what this does is it upgrades a normal item to a rare item. If we put it on a weapon, it's going to add physical damage, leeches life. I really just want it so I can put it on this, so it's going to roll it to be yellow. Now we have extra lightning resistance, physical, and then gain 3 life per enemy killed. That's good. I can actually swap this out if I want to. Actually, I don't have added lightning damage yet, which we'll get very, very soon. So now that we just killed that, what we can do is we're going to go back to character screen so we can save a portal. You can open up a portal, you can walk back, but this is way faster. So we can talk to Tarkly over here, and he'll give us a skill point. The reason why I like to do it this way is because you get the skill point immediately, so it makes clearing out the other content a little bit easier. We can actually buy items from it. If you see him have 3 blue, feel free to purchase it. Oh, there you go. There's a 3 blue right there. That could be excellent. Let's see if we see any other ones that could be good.
Stay sharp out there.
And you can also go to Nessa to purchase other items. If you see 3 blue, or if you see maybe an amulet that has like stats that you want, specifically getting a Paula amulet, could be good in the very beginning, or I could get one of these. We have Scrolls of Wisdom, that's our currency to actually get stuff. So if I want to get like a lightning skill, I can just type in light, and it'll just go over the lightning skills. So we can have Stormblast Mine, we get Freezing Pulse. Well, sometimes it'll say something in the tag that has like light, but we can run Spark, we can run Blight. I'm going to go ahead and start speccing out for lightning very soon. So I'm just going to put this in. I'm still going to use Freezing Pulse, but since I'm already in town, I'm just going to pick it up so I can start leveling it up. Later we'll use Arc, we'll use a completely different skill very, very soon. But we're just going to go walk all the way back. So the other strategy is to go put a portal down, and if you want to, it could save you like 30 seconds, but you may not have a portal, and that's totally a-okay. It's no biggie. We'll just walk. It'll take another like 20 seconds because we already have the map. If you want to open up a new instance of the map and kill stuff along the way, that is an option as well. You can hold control and click, and I'll show you guys how to do that. It doesn't really make a huge difference. So, like, there's very few people that actually like to do that during the campaign. But if you want to, you can hit control. And I'll show you what Spark looks like. So this is what Spark looks like. It's almost like Charge Bolt if you played Diablo 2. But yeah, we're going to start speccing into Lightning. And Lightning is so good. The reason why is because you get a what's called a Mastery earlier on the tree. And that'll be something I'll explain when the time comes. And it's so good. Ooh, nice. We got lots of Scrolls of Wisdom. But yeah, we can use Spark if we want to. It's not going to do that much damage compared to the Freezing Pulse. Because, well, Freezing Pulse, we've been leveling it up. But we will swap into it very shortly soon. And then we're going to swap into what I actually enjoy, which is Arc. And we're going to primarily be using Arc or Absolution. They're both excellent skills. You can use either. You can hybrid them out. In fact, later we actually will be using the brand new skills. The brand new skills you're going to be getting in Act 2 and 3. Act 1 is actually one of the longest acts in the game. Just because like you don't really have great movement speed. We're going to eventually get a Flame Dash, and it's going to be much faster and easier to kind of like get some extra free damage with. It starts burning, and it does a decent amount of damage. Oh, this also technically does damage, just as a heads up. What do we have? 3 link. There's a coral ring. Feel free to pick up any like rings that are white, and it's because you can roll an essence on them. Like the thing I just got, that was a little enemy that was frozen that we had to double click on. As far as the league mechanic, we'll do more of it as time progresses, but for the first like act, I already showed you guys the mechanic and kind of how it works. I kind of want to just get through Act 1. But if you want to, feel free to go ahead and do them. It's not going to be like a super bad thing, but sometimes the earlier like league mechanics may not reward you with like super great stuff. But I honestly don't know yet. The last time we got 2 rare rings, which is okay. But for the time that it took, I just want to get through the campaign, because the faster that you get to the end game, the faster that you can actually get like good currency, and then you start farming, and it progresses a lot faster. So now that we got this extra point here, we got, oh, I already put it in the lightning walker. Okay, so now that we got that, we're actually gonna go be pathing over here. We're gonna get this. This thing over here, lightning mastery, is just so huge earlier on. It lets our lightning damage basically roll 2 times, and it takes the greatest value. How it works in Path of Exile is lightning damage rolls, like, let's say our cold damage, it's gonna hit for like, it says 40 to 60 cold damage, right? Lightning will hit from 100, it'll hit from 1 to 100 damage. So it has really bad RNG, like as in like, but it has a very high, max hit. The min hit is low and the max hit is high, if that makes any sense. But yeah, we could start using Spark if we want to. In fact, we can swap to Spark now, wherever I put it, where's Spark. But we don't need to take these off. We can swap that with the Freezing Pulse, and we can drop Freezing Pulse completely. Or if you want to use Freezing Pulse, feel free to go ahead and continuously use it. But once you get the Lightning Mastery, you definitely want to swap over, because the damage is just way too high. And since we're speccing the Lightning, yeah, we want to do that. If you want to, alternatively, you could also level this up as minions, but I still recommend getting the Lightning Mastery of Lightning Rolls twice, because it's such a huge number value. And if you want to play this as Absolution, you can play it as Absolution with self-damage, because there's a point on the tree that will make it so all the minion damage that you scale will also scale your damage. And it's great for the campaign to get that, because it'll be a good amount of damage. This thing is kind of difficult. Don't get hit by those. It does lots of damage. If you can, it's going to what's called shock you. And we're going to be shocking our enemies very, very soon as well. And it's going to give us massive, I mean massive amounts of extra damage. Up to 50% extra damage when we shock them. If you see under their health bar, because like if we mouse over them, it shows their health bar. Obviously, when it goes to 0, they die. Getting them to be shocked, which we have a 10% as of right now to shock the enemy. You'll see under their HP, it'll show you the effectiveness of shock. That number represents how much percent they were shocked by, and they're going to take increased damage based off of that number. And it goes up to 50%. But there's other modifiers that can do other things with it, but we won't talk about it or make it too complex yet. But yeah, I'm super excited about this league, because not only did they buff Lightning, and I'm a huge fan of Arc. Arc mixed in with Impulsa is really good. Which what this item does is it makes it so when you shock enemies, it's going to make the enemies explode, and basically when you kill one enemy, it causes an explosion of a chain reaction. We got another one of these essences. We definitely want to do all the essences. The reason why is because these are really good in the very beginning. They're such good items for leveling to get like just the massive amounts of just free stats that you'll get, and hopefully I can show you guys once we come up to it. We want to rush that Lightning Mastery point.
I need more mana.
And mana, you'll see, it kind of starts becoming a problem, but we will fix that very shortly. Okay, so we got this Essence. So now this amulet over here, since it's a white one over here, I'm going to now convert it on an amulet. We get extra energy shields, like whatever. It doesn't really make that big of a difference, but extra regen and increased life and mana. Ooh, that's great per kill. Awesome. We just need a kind of a belt, and then we have like our full, like kind of little setup. So this one over here doesn't really do anything as a 3-link until we get like some extra added like lightning damage, which we will get, and it's going to make the mana cost go up, but in return we're going to get just huge amounts of extra damage. Definitely going to be worth it. Make sure you keep on activating your flask and keep on going.
And not before.
There's a guy coming up that will do a decent amount of damage, so you got to be careful. It's a goat. He'll what's called ignite you, and you'll start burning. You'll take a lot of damage. Since we're playing ranged, it's a lot easier. Playing melee in Path of Exile is an absolute nightmare as a leveling experience, because like a lot of times you don't have the mana. So and our next point's like I said, we're gonna rush this over here. So keep on going. If you want to, you can. If you want to play more of a minion build, like if you want to level up with zombies, that's totally fine too. You can get just all the damage with minions. And do drop a quiver. Too useful for us. If you see any scepters, I mean, it rolled with elemental damage, which can still be used. Definitely not bad. But right now I have like wands already. Like if I wanted to dual wield them, and if you dual wield, you get block trance, which is nice. Okay, this guy over here, he does a lot of damage. Be careful with him. So you can see under his HP, there's like a, I think he's chilled effect. You can see 17% chilled. That's the effect that I was talking about, where it's like under their HP. We ideally want to shock this guy, so he'll take more damage. But this guy, yeah, he does a massive amount of damage. So be careful. Don't stand too close. Summon your zombies, let them kind of take the damage. But okay, let's see. We got a coral ring. We'll pick up the coral ring. That's all I really want from that. I like to pick up rings and amulets, and I like to use my essences on those. But if you get like a really good, like a 4-linked item, maybe in like Act 2, using your essence on those can be great as well. Just whatever item is like white, right? Because it doesn't have any extra rolls. Basically, white items will have less rolls than blue items, which will have less rolls than the other items. So next thing that we're going to do is the Trial of Ascendency, which is in the lower prison. It's almost like a mini game. This is actually one of my favorite mechanics of Path of Exile, doing these little things to actually ascend. I believe we can go back to town too, if we want to. Check out and see if there's any. Ideally, we look for either 2 blues and a red, or 3 blue. In this case, I happen to have one already, but I kind of want to show you guys an absolution, and I need a red socket for that. So that skill will be getting very shortly as well. So we can go back, and if there's NPCs with exclamation marks on it, usually they have something to say. We can get extra minion damage, we get lightning damage support. Now we're going to pick this lightning damage, and now we're going to swap our thing into this. So I'm going to take this spark, I'm going to take the added lightning damage, and I'm going to take the arcane surge. I'm going to put it in here, and then we can get rid of this item. We no longer need it, because a 3-linked item is going to be a lot better. We don't need freezing pulse. We can keep the amulet. This, do I want to identify it? I mean, I don't really. I could move over those sockets if it's good. If it specifically has like cast speed, okay, so it has dex, 15 life. That's much better actually than what we have. And we don't really need this phantasm support really. And I could move this over here, and then I could still have phantasm support. It's better than not having it, but it's not really that big of a deal. I'm going to sell these items. This one has increased spell damage. Let's go identify it. Let's see if it's any good. Extra energy shield, lightning res. I'll take it because it has damage. And like, I actually heavily value damage in the very beginning. We have 2 coral rings. We can keep these, or I mean, if I want to, I could sell them, but we're only going to get scroll fragments. It's not like I really need. If you really need something, sure. I can get a energy shield belt. We can get that. We can get a belt that has life. I actually really like getting these life belts earlier on. We can also throw an essence on that as well. I'm actually going to just go and pick up this, because 40 life is going to be a nice chunk of life for us. And check out Tarkly. If we go to purchase items again, look for some sort of item if you can that specifically has like 2 blue and 1 red, or 3 blue, but they have to be linked. You have to make sure they are connected by the little like thing here. Like this is a 2-link, this is a 3-link.
Farewell.
So we'll keep this other one because I can throw an essence on it, and we'll go ahead and continue. So now that we have the added lightning damage, just some more extra damage. Gonna be great. And look, what's our damage with this right now? You can see the number over here. It's the DPS is considered 193, and it's just going to go basically through the roof when we have it roll twice. Sometimes with lightning damage, you'll see that it does 0 damage, and other times it'll one-shot things. The reason why this happens, actually, we can check for clarity after Brutus too, and vitality, which will make the whole leveling experience so much better, especially with the zombies. So this is our first shrine. What a shrine does is it gives you some sort of benefit. This one's gonna, if you mouse over it, it says the ice novas happen around us. If you see any sapphire rings, immediately pick them up. We're gonna be using them for the boss, because the boss does a huge amount of cold damage. The final boss of this act, it's lots of cold damage, so we're gonna want it for that. And if there's any skills that you like that are lightning based, feel free to use them instead of the ones I'm using, because you know everyone has a different playstyle, everyone likes different things. And also, I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but for those of you guys that are veterans, you do want like the POB. This is using a bunch of new skills. I'll have POBs of things that are like 100% guaranteed to work that basically are the same build. However, I plan to do a lot of things with newer skills that are untested as that are brand new, but theoretically, like, it's not that difficult to understand. If the numbers are very high, they will be good, but just for the sake of being a good teacher, sometimes there's skills that, like, you look at the numbers and they're fantastic, but, like, you just don't enjoy the playstyle. So I don't want to tell you guys, okay, this the new skill, guys, this is how you build it. Because if it's not fun, I just don't want to play it. And then I'm like, no. Like, I have my whole build guide ruined, essentially, if I don't play the skill, right? So we're going to click on the bronze monograph if you want to. It says some cool stuff. Honestly, it is really cool, but I'm going to go ahead and skip it. So we're going to click on this door. This is basically like a puzzle. So we're going to have to run through these spikes. Basically, you want to run behind the spikes. And then we're going to hit this lever. So what this is done for, this is like the mini game I was talking about. It's actually done for the Ascendency, which is going to be the like upgraded version of your class. So think of it like a super class. If you want to wait, you can wait in these little like corners, wait for the thing to come by. Honestly, you can get hit by it. If you die in this game, it's not that big of a deal, especially earlier on. So you can see how much damage it does. It does a good amount of damage though. But over here, we're coming up to ones that are basically checkered, like in diagonals. So basically wherever the spikes were, they're going to go away. But you can just teleport up here and basically skip the mechanic, which most people do anyways. And you want to click on the Trial of Ascendency plaque. It's going to open a portal. You're going to go back. You're going to have to do several of these, and eventually you're going to be able to go on a trial. And this trial is kind of difficult, but don't worry, I'll teach you how to do it. So we're just going up here again. We're getting that cracking speed, getting that lightning mastery ASAP, because once we get that, our damage basically will one-shot almost everything, unless the lightning damage rolls bad 2 times, which is entirely possible. Which I'll show you once that happens. So we're going to go to the upper prison now. Make sure you complete that Trial of Ascendency. And then next up, we're going to be doing, the next quest that we do is the Marooned Mariner, but that is after we fight this boss that's coming up. So we've got another boss. Make sure, again, you're leveling your stuff up. And if you're having mana problems, feel free to get another mana potion if you want. You should be okay for now, unless you're on like a 4-link setup. Sometimes people get lucky, you can get a really good item earlier on, maybe with a league mechanic. You get a tabula. There was one league, was it last league? I think it was like one of the leagues. I know in Act 1 I got a tabula rasa, and I was just like super blown away. This is an item that basically gives you a 6-link earlier on, and it's just crazy to get that. Like it was probably my luckiest like run ever, like in the history of like thousands of hours in this game. Getting a tabula Act 1 is crazy. I believe it was the arch nemesis. That was the league. Remember when you're bleeding, I mean, I'm moving because like I trust myself and I can stop moving whenever I need to. But if you are bleeding, just stop moving. If you feel like you're starting to drain out. So we're gonna go to the warden's corner. So we're in the upper prison now. Now, just keep on going. And this map will be pretty much the exact same. Keep in mind, sometimes it's a little bit different, but he's going to be popping out. Actually, I think we go up here. So if you want to, you can just hold down whatever you have. You key bound. A lot of people like right click, but I like W. So I can hold QW, and it just lets me go forward. This guy is pretty tough, though. So take your time on him. And if you want to, like, here, I'll be a good teacher and tell you to throw up a portal. I mean, I'll do it just in case, right? So throw up a portal before you fight this guy. You'll see that there's like a book, like on the floor, like the icon. He is very difficult. Do not hold still. When you see him charging up, because I have these zombies, the zombies will basically take the damage. But there are spikes that can come up from the ground. If those spikes hit you, you will probably die if you hit by it too many times. When he charges up his fist like he's going to slam on the ground, just move. He also pulls you in. You can see that shock effect. That's a little like, those 2 different icons. I know I made it look easy, but I promise you guys that guy is not like easy, especially if it's your first time playing the game. But I threw up a portal just in case. I mean, I know that I'm confidently like able to do it, but I've been playing this game for a long time. But if you die on him, don't worry, dude. He gets you sometimes, even though I've played this game for a long time. Sometimes there's some pretty close calls. So now we're going to be at the prisoner's gate. And since we defeated him, we're going to basically get access to some extra stuff in town. We can go talk to the people in town. A lot of times it's just kind of like, as you get the other waypoint, you go back to town, sell your stuff that like you don't need. I don't happen to have anything to sell now, but you know, if there was. And then also we can get some extra stuff. We can get summon skeletons, which is actually one of my favorite summons in the entire game. I actually use this pretty much throughout the campaign for specifically Zara when he does one-shot things. It's great to have. So now we can get access to Vitality. We're going to take Vitality and we're going to get Clarity. So this will help out with our mana problems. But if you want to look up at any other like things that would be lightning related, type that in. I specifically recommend just to stick with lightning things. But if you want like any minion stuff, feel free to go and do so as well. If I could pick one of these up, I would pick one of those up. But lightning and lightning stuff we'll get later down the line. We'll get Arc very soon. We can actually get Holy Relic too. Actually, what does this cost? A Scroll of Wisdom? Do we have room for it? Well, I want this regardless. I'm going to have to drop the Phantasm support, which is fine. It's not a big deal. Do I really want this? Well, this one, how it works is when you attack, it's not that really big of a deal because you're going to actually have to attack with it. So I'm now going to have Clarity and I'm going to have Vitality. And these are going to what's called Reserve Mana. We can also talk to Tarkley over here, and he's going to give us a reward. We can get Clarity. So if you don't buy it from them, you can get Clarity, but we can still get, what I want to get as a reward is specifically Flame Dash. So we drop the Frostblink and we get Flame Dash. The reason why we get Flame Dash instead is because Flame Dash gets 3 uses while Frostblink gets 1. Now, the important thing with Flame Dash is you don't want to use it multiple times in a row by holding it. Otherwise, you get some weird like delay. So cast it once, move like literally 1 inch, and then do it again. Another thing that you can do with this is always attack without moving. This makes it so when you use the ability, it will always activate the ability to where your cursor is in terms of the direction versus having to actually cast a skill and land at that direction. It basically makes it a lot faster in terms of like its activation. Because if you click too far out, it's going to walk forward, then use Flame Dash, which you don't want. Okay, so next, there's another one of those like mirror mechanics that's for the Lake of Kalandra. Like I said, I just want to get through Act 1 as quickly as possible because Act 1 is just really long. Oh, we also should probably use Vitality and Clarity. So, you'll see that if you look at your skill bar, let me kill these things so I can explain and not get attacked at the same time. So you see if I hold control, I basically get a full new bar. I can actually activate skills, and I'm going to activate Clarity and Vitality. You'll see that my mana is going to reduce itself by 62, so it's going to reserve mana. So we basically lose out on 62 mana. Like, it's completely locked. Like, I can't access that mana. But what that is doing is it's giving me these auras. What do these auras do? Well, Clarity gives me mana regen, and Vitality, gives me life regen. And as we level these ones, we don't want to really level up like every single time. For now, we'll level them up to like at least level 4. But later, we won't actually want to level them up anymore. The reason why is because they cost too much mana. Like they're gonna eventually like reserve so much mana that we cannot actually cast our skills, potentially, depending on like how much we have invested into it. 7 more zombies. We can also do skeletons. It doesn't really matter. I like skeletons more because zombies require a corpse. Skeletons do not. Probably should have mentioned that zombies require a corpse earlier on, but oops. Yeah, there we go. And we're good. So yeah, we're going to get Crackling Speed, and then we'll get other things. So we're going to get this waypoint, and usually this guy that we'll talk to, Fairgraves, he'll be on the side of the entrance. So we're going to look for a ship that's broken, and that ship is going to actually have the quest that we need, and then that will give us our awesome skill, the skill that we can use throughout all the game. I mean, heck, you can use any skill in PoE as an endgame skill. Would I recommend it? For the most part, like, yes, honestly. Like, in some games, you'll have, like, beginner skills. In this game, you don't really have, like, this is a beginner skill. Some skills are great for leveling, but you can literally use them all. Every single skill, as long as you build it correctly, you can pretty much use it for most forms of endgame content, which is awesome with Path of Exile. That's why I love this game so much. Like, it just has so much depth to it and so much big brain. Like, you can do so many more things. There's so many games that will advertise, like, hundreds or millions of possibilities. This game actually allows that, and it actually does matter. Like, you can do some crazy stuff in this game. In fact, we will be doing a crazy, well, it's not super crazy because I don't want to overwhelm you guys to think that this is crazy by the sense of like discouraging some players, but we're actually going to only need one form of resistance in this game. For this build. Not every build can do what we're going to be doing, but that's what makes this build unique, and we only need to get one sort of resistance. We actually want to get negative in another department, and one will always be in one number, and it's going to be awesome. So what we're looking for is there's like a dead person that's kind of somewhere in the bottom here. Just got to look for her. And we just keep on moving until we find her. But if you want to interact with the mirror mechanic, again, feel free to go and do so. I'm just going to speed run through basically Act 1, but I'm going to show you guys all of the important quests. There will be a bunch of quests that we don't do, and that's because the quests literally don't give you anything good. So be careful on this boss, because this boss is cold, and when you start moving too slow, sometimes you can get killed very, very easily. But you can flame dash into her and flame dash away. That way there's like fire that's burning on the ground. She takes some damage. So there's the slave girl, there's the dead body. We get the all flame, and we will move. Like I mentioned before, I do have some extra things added into my game. That is just sounds. It's not going to affect like gameplay. But I also it's because it's called the loot filter. If you want to learn more about it, because you're definitely going to want a loot filter towards the end. That's why a lot of people, when you start a Path of Exile, they tell you to download like 10 different programs, like download PoE Awaken Trade, and like I will definitely recommend that. But the thing with telling people to download a bunch of like, you know, third-party programs, people sometimes get scared and then they can discourage them. So I just go start, and I just go straight to playing versus like talking and looking at spreadsheets for a long time, because that's just the way I think that can encourage more people to try out the game. We're getting our Orb of Chance over here. It's nice. What the Orb of Chance does is later we can use it to get like what's called heist maps, but and also just get maps in general for more endgame content. But I don't really use Orbs of Chance. You can get an item and you can roll it to a random rarity, which could even include unique items, or if you play Diablo, think of legendary items. So like I mentioned, Furgraves is usually closer to the waypoint. So now that we have the item, which is the All Flame, we will take it to him. But yeah, just a lot of times just cast once and move. And the reason why I like to cast speed is because you can interrupt your... See how I like to activate it? But if I move, it'll cancel the animation. That's why I like to get a lot of cast speed in the very beginning. Because getting cast speed in the very beginning allows you to not run into that situation. And it also lets you cast faster, which can be really good, especially for lightning. And the reason why casting faster is great for lightning, because the way lightning works in this game is you want to shock the target, then it takes basically 50 to 65% more damage on like the higher end of things, which is great. But you can see he has 33 shock effect. We'll grab this chain belt. I mean, if I want to grab the yellow items, I can. But this could be an upgrade. Let's see. It gives us extra strength. I mean, I like what I have right now, to be honest. That 40 life is actually pretty nice. Remember how I said keeping all these sapphire rings? Still keep all of these. These are going to be great. One ender shield. That item that's not very good. Now what I can do is I can alt. I'll just use some currency so you guys can see what it does. So this will re-roll it. So instead of it having like 1 to maximum energy shield, we got 1 to life regen. Either way, that's kind of meh. But I'm going to use it for the boss. So keep any of those rings. And now we're going to go basically continuously upward. If you wanted to, you could technically throw up a portal, then walk down, then use the waypoint, and then go back to town, then use your portal. But yeah, we're just going to go up. And we're going to go past, like, we went to the shipwreck and we went under before, but now we're going to go towards the final boss. We're coming towards the end of this act. Act 1 is just the longest, though, for sure.
When I'm ready,
so we're going to go past the ship, and it's usually, like, towards, like, the top. Just keep on going up. We'll get there very soon. If you see any, like, yellow monsters, feel free to kill them. They have, like, chance to drop potentially better stuff. If you want to see all the items on the ground, if you hold alt, it will show them. It depends on like what your filter like shows up. A lot of the items, like, I just block them because like if it's an item that isn't very good, it just won't show up, which can kind of help out with visual clutter. Like I mentioned before, it's if you want to get a third-party like application, or it's basically just putting something into the files of the game, and it tells the game like what you actually want to like look for. And if you want to learn more about that, I have videos dedicated towards it. But we're just gonna keep on going. Click on this treasure chest. It's gonna summon some monsters. Kill the daughter here. Daughter or Merville. So keep on upgrading your clarity and vitality up until like at least level 4. Ooh, this could be a nice little upgrade. Finally. Maybe an upgrade that will be useful. We get cold res. Ooh, nice. 6% cold res. Okay, be careful when you have vulnerability and bleeding. You can take massive damage. So I need to... Sometimes you got to play inventory Tetris and you got to move some certain things. And this one is going to be nice because it gives cold and fire res. And it'd be very nice. Now we can actually get arc. We could actually go back to town. As soon as you go here, you actually can go back to town because we can use Arc right now. In fact, I'm just going to use a portal just because I kind of walked over. I have a bunch of portals. I haven't been using them. It's fine. It's not really that big of a deal to save portals, but like it can be okay in the very beginning. The next level is going to be huge, so if we can get that before the boss, it'd be excellent. But now we're going to get a reward. We can get Ice Nova, Blazing Salvo, Arc. Arc is what I like, and Absolution is great as well if you are more of a fan of minions. If you are interested in playing minions, you could watch this whole this full like play session of Act 1, and then you can continue my entire play session on basically the rest if you are interested in playing more of a minion based build. But you can definitely run like a lot of different things in this. I'm going to select Arc as a reward, but there's also Absolution, which is super good. Solution, which is right here. I don't have the transmute for it, but this is a fantastic skill as well. Unless you have like a minion that comes out after you call down some lightning. I love Arc though. The Arc is 100% my like favorite go-to, and I'll show you how it looks like. So we'll also get a passive point. So we'll go ahead and actually put this passive point in. So this is what's called the master. We're gonna have to click on this little like giant circle. There we're gonna select the lightning damage with non-critical strikes is lucky. What this does is it rolls our damage twice on lightning, because you'll see, well, we're dropping spark now. We're going to Arc, and you'll see how this works. So Arc does 18 to 118. So that's a huge difference. That's a 100 gap, right? So basically what it comes down to is it rolls that damage 2 times. So it will do, 18 to 118, and it'll attempt to do that twice. I probably should have took the portal. In fact, I haven't even taken a portal, I think, yet in this game, in the play session of a walkthrough and, beginner's guide. So where the portal is, because it's just right next to the waypoint, just go down to the left, and you can go to the portal, and it'll put you back exactly where you place the portal. We're going to pick up if you see any Jade amulets, or any amulet that gives you strength or dexterity, feel free to pick those up, as you might have an item that you really want to use and it has a certain requirement. And as of right now, I don't have any points into like dexterity or strength. You will get free 20 strength and dex basically in like the starter area of the tree. We will eventually get them. But yeah, now that we have that extra lightning mastery, if you want to, if you need to go back in any of these areas, so what you can do is you can control click on an area, and you can open up what's called a new instance if you want to. I really suggest, if you're going to fight this boss, make sure you have the lightning damage with non-crits. Get this lightning mastery, and then now remember how I said any rings with cold resist we want? Okay, let's see what we got. Life regen, some strength. What does this one do? Some life. Extra cold resist. I want as much cold resist as possible. Oh no, it doesn't let me use this because I require the strength. Hey, great example there where it shows it. But yeah, you want as much cold resist as possible. Right now, in terms of our cold resistance, we got 33. That's okay. That should be enough. And if I want to, because we're coming up to the boss very soon, but we go ahead and start killing some stuff. But yeah, if you don't have one of those rings, you can get rid of I believe it's a gem, and there's a vendor recipe. I'll put it down below. I'll put like some important vendor recipes in like the description. But yeah, you can craft these rings. It's not really that big a deal to craft though. If you don't get one, and if you don't have the cold res, don't feel like it's that big of a deal. You can just die maybe a couple times in the boss if you need to. It's totally okay, by the way, to die in the campaign. This is something that most content creators will also tell you, is that don't worry about like having 0 deaths in this game, especially if it's your first time. Oh, we need to reactivate our ability. If you move a gem, it will unactivate it because it's not equipped, But you can see how great this skill is. It basically does like a chain lightning effect. If I want to get like one more level, like right now I could get like this one. This is kind of nice to have just for the extra strength and dex, and it gives you 10 to all resistances, and this one gives you 3. It's okay. It's not a bad thing to get in the very beginning. Coming up to the boss, Merfolk Slayer. If you want, I don't think you have to do it anymore to throw up a portal. I believe that you will actually not respawn like super far away. I think it respawns you like right outside. So again, cold resistance is something that you want to try to prioritize on gear if you can. So we're just going to keep on hitting her with lightning. She'll take a while to kill though. She's got lots of HP. She's actually one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. The reason why she slows you down, there's a lot of things to dodge, but she shoots out these like icicle tendrils. And just keep on hitting her. You see how she has like 22% effectiveness of shock under her HP. That's good. So this is her first form. If you ever at any point need to go back into town, feel free to go and do so. You can reset your flask charges with that. Like, let's say you're out of your life flasks or whatever. With Vitality, it should be relatively easy. Just shoot once and move. There's these giant, like, whirlpools that come out from the ground. Just don't stand on them. Resummon her zombies so she has extra things to hit. Most bosses will summon some trash mobs for you to kill, so if there is a summoner build, they have, like, something to actually use. Or corpses. But what I love with Arc so much is it makes the game so easy because you don't have to aim as much because it'll always chain to the targets as long as you hit one of them. So you can see she's going to be taking 20% more damage. She's burning real easy. Nice.
Poor fishwife.
Pick up the yellow stuff. Let's see if let's see. Let's see if these are gonna go move speed. Ooh, lightning! We got some move speed. I need clarity for sure. I can move clarity over here. The Ray Zombie. I mean, do I want it? Yeah, I do. But if you get boots with movement speed, we can keep these because they're yellow and we can sell them to the vendor. And now we've completed Act 1. We're gonna be moving to Act 2, and then we'll go ahead and oh, we need to reactivate our thing. Let's go ahead and do that. Where did I move the? Oh, it's because I don't have like the stat requirement. This had 8 strength. Okay, next level we'd be able to actually put in the other point. Remember how I was like, okay, you can get the extra strength and get the extra stats. That will be good to get because it'll make it much easier. And that's why I mentioned before, if you see any Jade Army, let's pick it up. The reason why is because you can get some piece of gear that like doesn't work with your other piece of gear, and you have to like kind of be like, okay, I need to swap this for this. And that's a lot of like inventory management just in Path of Exile, and you're gonna have to do this throughout pretty much the entirety of the game if you want to like min-max. And you're like, I want to play with this. Certain gems also will have like requirements. And the monkey's dead. Okay. But yeah, in this area, there's a bunch of monkeys that will come down from trees. So if you don't see an enemy, sometimes you can get surrounded by them. But that's fun with Arc because Arc just bounces and you see it just changes everything. And you see how like that thing died off screen. That's why I love Arc so much. Absolution can also be used to level it up. In fact, that's what I did last league. And if you want to like level up with Absolution, feel free to do that as well. You can scale minion damage as well as lightning damage, and on top of that, what you can do if you want to, and I'll mention it real quick because some people like minions, right? Like right now I'm not really specking the minions, but if you just type in on this tree right here, if I type in like the word minion, I can see all these minion nodes. I can put in points right here, and this will give you an extra zombie, an extra skeleton. There's more over here, and then there's a really good minion node that I really like called Spiritual Aid. So all the increases to minion damage. So like if I keep on getting plus minion damage everywhere, the only thing I really like recommend people to always get, because like this thing is so good even for Absolution, just so, because it rolls the damage twice, right? So getting this is just really nice. Or you can get effective shock, because you shocking will also increase the minions damage, because shock increases the damage they take, right? If I hold alt, you can see how much damage it takes. But if I get all of these minion nodes, eventually I will be pathing out over here anyways to get Divine Judgment. Now, most people will also path out to get Sovereignty, because we're going to go eventually down here on the skill tree. And if I keep on getting minion damage, I can eventually just get this. Then all the minion damage nodes, it's just extra free damage for me. So now I have like a hybrid build of me doing damage and the minions doing damage. Eventually, you're going to kind of have to pick if you want to go pure minions or you can go pure yourself damage. If you want to go pure yourself damage, that's kind of what I'm doing, but you can play this build in several different ways. In fact, we can actually play melee later in the game, and I'll show you guys how that works. But if you guys want to see gameplay of all the builds that this opens up the doors for, you can actually play an Elementalist as well, for specifically going to Golems. That's another option, which is another minion build. It's heavily based off of physical, but you can physical convert to lightning really easy with some gloves called Triad Grips, which, don't worry if this is like too much information. I'm just mentioning it for those of you guys that are like kind of more familiar with the game and you're kind of interested in maybe what I'm doing. So now we're in Act 2. So in Act 2, we are going to be siding with some bandits. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff, but thanks for tuning in for part 1 of our Path of Exile playthrough. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like on your way out, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next part. So if you guys want to see it and this is your first time here, subscribe to the bell. If you have any questions, check the pinned comment, or go ahead and actually just comment and I'll try to answer it in the future. And also, I'll be pretty much live streaming on Twitch pretty much this whole weekend. So if you guys want to come by, I'm going to be doing my entire walkthrough playthrough guide on Twitch for the next part. I just like to do part 1 so I can record it and start like rendering it, because these file sizes, they're pretty big, as it's like an hour for like the act, for at least part 1. Part 1 again is like the longest because there's so many things to stop and explain, as well as going through the first act. It's just longer in general because, well, you don't get to move as fast because we didn't get those boots with movement speed, which definitely do help out, which we'll use later. But anyways, thanks for tuning in for part 1. I'll see you guys very soon in part 2. Take care. I'm out. Peace.